What's up, guys? Welcome back to another iPopcorn for that review. I'm Chris,
I'm Nick.
and today we are talking about Drive Away Dolls. So, although it is the 19th Coen Brothers movie, if you want to look at it that way, it is the first solo venture by Ethan Coen. So we'll see how one Coen does without the other.
See what's in here.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
I'm a boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Before we get into the video, we want to remind you guys, it helps us out a lot if you hit like. So if you enjoy this kind of thing, hit like below and also subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers before the end of this year, so that helps us out greatly. But yeah, so what is this movie about?
Drive Away Dolls is about Jamie, an uninhibited free spirit bemoaning yet another breakup with a girlfriend, and her demure friend Marion desperately needs to loosen up. In search of a fresh start, the two embark on an impromptu road trip to Tallahassee, but things quickly go awry when they cross paths with a group of inept criminals along the way.
I think that is already a strange description for this movie.
Yeah, it
but
is.
It kind of gives you an idea of what you're getting into. But I feel like if you actually watch this movie, you're going to be like, I guess that's one way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to hear. We don't talk about these things beforehand, so I don't know how you feel about it. You don't know how I feel about it. But I'm very interested to see how this worked for you because both of us are Coen Brothers fans. But this is, I don't want to equate this the whole way to the Coen Brothers because this is Ethan trying to show what he's got on his own. So
Yeah.
So how did this work for you? What do you like? What do you not like?
So we both did talk a little bit about leading up to this, how many times we had seen the trailer of wondering, like, maybe this isn't gonna be so good. And I liked it. I thought it was actually pretty good. I think it was different enough from their other movies, like on an individualistic level of not being both of the brothers, and also of course having a separate writer that isn't your main co-writer.
Don't you almost feel like you can feel the parts of other Coen Brothers movies that were Ethan?
Yeah.
Certain
things I felt like it. But yeah, I had a fun time with it. Like, I thought I was gonna get annoyed with the Jamie character because she's so southern and like kept saying these colloquialisms and things. But I liked it. I ended up liking it.
And I would say to some extent she is trying to be an annoying character. Like you're not really supposed to not be annoyed. She is played pretty over the top, and the accent's either going to work for you or not. I don't know what like particular type of southern accent she was going for. Maybe more Texas than.
Well, I mean, she's supposed to be from Fort Worth, but I don't know anybody from Fort Worth that talks like that.
Yeah, it's not quite a nail on the head. So this is an interesting thing because there's pros and cons here, but I hate to report that this does not work for me really much at all. And I'm working with it the whole way through, and my enjoyment of it did like fluctuate throughout, or not throughout. Like it was kind of a gradient. So I heard some people say that like the first part of this is better or something like that, and then I was like, I can't look at what people are saying. I think it's opposite for me. So I was really jarred by the beginning, and I'll go back and talk about why. But the beginning is jarring, and how you feel about that beginning is probably going to have a lot of influence, at least in my case, on how you feel about the rest of it. There's a lot of comedy here and a lot of jokes, and how they work for you is a big deal because this is a comedy in a big way, not just like a super dark comedy where there's like hints of laughter, but it's so dark. This is actually a lot less dark in a way.
Yeah.
Than I think it could have gone because, you could almost think you're going to see a lot of like some really brutal stuff. I mean, you're dealing with the Coen brothers. They don't shy away from that necessarily, but also, I mean, even just the subject matter here, like there is something going on. I don't want to get into spoilers, but like there is something going on here that involves some brutality, but it actually in the movie, it doesn't really play out that brutal.
Yeah, even though the deaths that do happen, because there are a couple, don't seem brutal in any way. There's still like levity to the situation and everything.
it's just fun. I think I need a rewatch out of it because I think the critiques that I would give to this sound like things that other people might give to other Coen Brothers movies. Like, what's it really about? Like, does anything really happen? What's the point, really?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be somebody that's saying that about, that's not really it. It's just like I didn't feel super attached to any particular character.
Well,
I didn't feel a lot of chemistry between the main two, and I think that was a big problem for me.
Oh, really? You didn't?
I'm You did?
I did, and I kind of felt like it becomes a love story as well as whatever else it is, the comedy.
It kind of laid into it, I thought, because
yeah,
even if you did feel chemistry between them,
I mean, it's not that long of a movie. It was only an hour and 24 minutes.
Yeah, it is not even an hour and a half long, which I appreciate the brevity.
El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Of don't do more than you have to do. But yeah, I think like for me, it wasn't completely obvious to me that there was a whole lot going on between them from both sides, at least until like really far along into it, because. So Margaret Qualley is Jamie. Yeah, that's our main two. Margaret Qualley is Jamie, and Geraldine Viswanathan is Marion. And Marion is so dry and deadpan and everything, and that's her personality. I mean, I'm not saying that's not like a critique on her acting. That's the character she's going for.
Mm-hmm.
But you just can't get really a great read on her. And Margaret Qualley's character Jamie is such a free spirit and so unhinged and so crazy and unpredictable. And she feels like almost all of this movie like she's really dragging Marion through this, and it's not entirely ever clear how into any of this. Like she wants to go to every lesbian bar anywhere between, in the whole Southeast and everything, and it's not clear how much Marion even enjoys any of that. It seems like she doesn't really enjoy any of that. Like none of this seems like her idea of a great time. And then when they do kind of, I guess like the scene, the nude woman with the boots and everything.
Oh, right, yeah, when she kind of
like over the fence
discovered she
I guess
was
that's
attracted
where
to women.
I think that's her not just finding out that she's attracted to women, but that's supposed to be our cue that she is falling for Jamie for the first time.
Yeah, because of
the boots and everything. Yeah. But the other thing is, there's a great cast here, and I thought a lot of these people could have gotten a little more to do, especially Pedro Pascal, dude. Because when you see Pedro Pascal in something, I think, man, utilize him as much as you can, and he didn't really have much of a role here, right? I mean, it was funny to see him, but.
Well, him and Matt Damon barely were in the movie for 5 minutes. But I think it's just maybe getting it's a Coen brother movie. You've been in some of them, so why not do this one?
I think my favorite casting here was Bill Camp. I like that guy every time he pops up in anything. I've seen him in a handful of things, and I just like that guy as a character actor. But his role here is just so funny and reminds me of other. I hate to bring it up again, but it just reminds me of other Coen Brothers movies, that deadpan type delivery. And he has the line that got the biggest laugh out of me in the whole movie, which was such a subtle little line, but he says something like, do you remember the exact line when the cop doesn't see him in the window? And he throws the papers up in the air, and he's like, of course nobody saves Curly. Of course nobody's gonna save Curly.
Nobody likes Curly or something like that.
But yeah, he was a funny side character. And by the way, I found myself wondering if this is a thing in real life where you can just go to a place and rent a car to only go in one direction and just be dropped off somewhere.
I mean, technically you can with any rental car agency now. That seemed like it was more of a job. You got to get there, and they cut you a deal.
Yeah, it's like you just go in there and ask if they have any rides going to where you're planning on going, and then maybe they do.
Yeah.
But at least this big misunderstanding, and I think that misunderstanding and the goons involved that are chasing them and everything, it felt like something between Fargo. They're different characters than Fargo, but
right.
it had shades of Fargo to me, and also
Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare or something.
Mm-hmm. And then also Burn After Reading. This movie reminded me of Burn After Reading sometimes, just because of the fact that the thing. At least one of the two things that they're after, and that all this fuss and hubbub is about, is such a goofy, stupid thing in both movies. And it's but they end up bribing someone for all this money for it. So.
But I thought you might be worried. Worried? About the security of your shit.
Yeah, and I liked the goons and their chemistry as well. The one Joey Slotnick, the bald guy, he was very recognizable.
Joey Slotnick,
I thought he was really good.
Yeah,
he looks like he could be related to Paul Giamatti or Chris Elliott or something. They're very similar
So,
looking dudes.
The last thing I'll say, because I don't want to, I get no joy from not enjoying this movie more. I really wanted to like it, and I think it might have hurt the movie to me that no one in my theater was laughing at anything. And so if you found yourself in a theater that was full of people that were really enjoying this, and maybe everybody was enjoying it, but nobody was laughing, and if you went into a theater and everybody was laughing, this probably is a totally different movie. But it kind of added to like it made it like kind of a weird vibe because they're going for so many jokes, and this movie is so unapologetically horny and lesbian, and it kind of equates, like, I don't want to, not to its detriment, I guess, but it just like, it feels like all lesbianism is about is like sex and horniness at all times.
Right.
At least that's all this main character is thinking about ever. And all the characters kind of have like the same personality thing going all the way through. Like, there's not a whole lot of development except in Miriam's character by the end.
Save the sanctimony.
And hand over the million smackers.
Yeah.
But like the Beanie Feldstein character, who's Jonah Hill's sister, if anybody out there doesn't know that, but her character is kind of just one note. You know, it's just like she's the cop ex-girlfriend chick that decides it's worth it to drive or to get on an airplane to give somebody a dog. The biggest thing for me, I think, in the beginning that was the biggest drawback is there is some really jarring editing in this. Not just the thing with the transitions, but there's these psychedelic transitions all through this movie.
Yeah.
And what do you make of all that? I was like mixed between feeling like I was watching like Tim and Eric and like a transition in That 70s Show, and like,
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Strange.
I thought it reminded me of like a transition in That 70s Show, and I was like, what does this have to do with anything? I know it's going to come back around at some point, but it seems very unnecessary. Like, they could have worked it in a different way, maybe. It wasn't really...
Right. When you get the payoff of it, it's like, that was a lot. There was a lot of that for just the one thing that you got out of it, but
Yeah.
you know, maybe you like that or you don't or whatever. But the transitions, dude, in the beginning are so. I'm sure it's like intentionally goofy.
This girl just drove off with something we need.
We gotta call the cops. Cool your jets. Here's what we do.
Sell it back. Shake them down.
On a movie, and then like sometimes it was just a really jarring. Like, we'd be midway through a scene, and then something would just pop up or happen just really abruptly in the middle of that thing. Especially the one that stands out to me is like when we see Miley Cyrus, who has like an uncredited role as Tiffany Plastercaster.
Yeah.
And when we see her, like, that just popped up so abruptly, and it wasn't entirely clear to me until I thought about it later, even what was really fully happening there. But I get it.
Yeah,
but
it just seemed really abrupt in each scene. It's like I said, you knew it was going to come around to something. I feel like they could have worked it in differently, because like the whole thing is they find the case that has these things in them. Like, whenever they discovered that and opened it, maybe introduced that in a different way at that point in the movie.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I don't want to say what's in the leather thing that's smoke's coming out of and everything. You know what I'm talking about? But I don't want to say what's in there, but like immediately they find out that that's what that is, and then they immediately walk into a hotel with it and put it on the counter. I was like, oh my God, that would be the last thing you'd ever do. And then they make a bunch of attention around themselves. I was like, God,
yeah,
you guys are crazy. There's like no repercussions to anything. Yeah, strange little movie. I wish it clicked with me more. I wish I was feeling that same vibe. And I'll rewatch it one day and see if anything changes. But did not work for me really at all, which is crazy. So wow. What would you give this thing after
I'm going strong, man. I like
Go strong.
I thought it was good. I had a smile on my face the whole movie. I was chuckling throughout. I'm going 7.5. I liked it.
7.5. I don't know how to score it. I feel like terrible giving a Coen Brothers movie anything that's negative, but I have to like look beyond that and be objective about how I actually felt about it. So for now, for me, I think this is about a 4.
Damn. All right.
Sucks.
I think you need to rewatch it, man.
Yeah, no joy saying that. Funny, because I'm probably gonna have this video come out before
Blood Simple.
Before Blood Simple, which is like we're talking about how we're preparing for this movie. But anyway, you know, you get what you get. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. As always, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.